Hi, and welcome to the All Things ITSM Global Podcast. We are coming to you from FUSION15 in New Orleans. I'm Kirsty McGowan. I'm here with Gerard Green.
Hey, Kirsty.
Carlos Casanova.
Hello, Kirsty.
Now we're going to speak to Anthony Orr, who is the Cherwell evangelist. That's an interesting title.
Yes, it is.
So we're back into a religious state now. Tell us a little bit about, it's a new role for you. So I guess what is an evangelist? Other than Billy Graham up on stage.
Yeah, that's an interesting title. I have to tell you a story real quick. One time, I used that title on a resume, and I was actually interviewing, and somebody got really perturbed because of the evangelist title and the relationship to religion and so forth. And I really had to explain what the evangelist really does is go out and represent and speak on behalf of other companies and also do other things besides speak. For example, working with Gerard, besides speaking at events and things like that, we probably work on marketing materials. I'll be in front of their customers a lot, and just hopefully just promoting their brand and everything else and the value of Cherwell within the industry. So right. that's what I'll be doing there. So.
Yeah, and I guess that's the biggest thing sometimes that we lose track of is, from an ego perspective, you don't want to come across that, hey, how great and stuff, but at the same time, we do need to communicate, the successes of, whether it's clients or peers and colleagues and stuff. So I think it's, and we're seeing it a little bit more, I think, in the formalization of the roles, and as long as, there's no altars and, no sacrificial lambs and stuff where it's all good. But I think it's important that we do start seeing more of that, a structured evangelism of, here's all the good stuff that's going on and the folks are doing. But I think that'll reinforce a lot of the value changes and the cultural changes that we've been trying to promote. So it sounds like you've got quite a bit of work ahead of you.
Yeah, well, one of the things it does too, it actually helps motivate people and organizations to want to do things around service management, get the values that we've always promised within that, in the best practices around ITIL and so forth. So evangelism is not just, saying, hey, we have a good product, but, talking about that product and that service as it relates to their organization and how they can do things better and so forth. So that's part of what I'm doing. I'm going out to giving them practitioner advice and so forth based on all the customer experiences I have from traveling all around the world, visiting and seeing different customers in different situations and how they sort of overcame some of those things by applying technology, of course, changing their process and doing things even around cultural change so that they can be successful.
Yeah, and Anthony, he's one of those folks who's well known in this industry. I think he's being a little humble here, right? His resume and his cachet speaks for itself, and I think it's that opportunity to not leverage Anthony's brand, but to use Anthony's knowledge and expertise applied to Cherwell and our community to get the message out and make sure that he can, again, talk to the experiences that he's seen across the world and share how they can get value from our products. So it's been a great partnership to date, and we just look forward to the work we're going to do moving forward.
Yeah, certainly. It's a name that's known globally. It's not just,
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, on New Zealand, we know who you are.
Yeah, I was in Australia speaking at the ITSM show, I think it was last year. And how they normally introduce speakers, and they said, well, I want to introduce you to Anthony Orr, and one of the ladies in the background shouted out, oh, we know who he is, let's get him going, we don't have much time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, really? And I said, everybody else agree with that? They said, yeah, we agree, go ahead, speak. I said, okay, let's get into the meat of things.
Let's get going.
But I think to your point, Gerard, I think the biggest part is once you're in the space for a while, you see things, you see, and it's not like, it was Halloween, so, sometimes we see things and it's just not a pretty scene. But I think the sharing of that, we've had other conversations where, people saying, hey, like they don't want to talk about, some of the things they're encountering. Right. But someone comes in with, with the experience that you have and you say, hey, you're not alone. Yes, there are 20 other companies that are also running it or have run into those same issues. So you're not alone. I think it gives them a little bit of a sense of ease to say, oh, okay, so we're not, like totally messed up. We have issues and we have challenges.
And we're not unique. Yeah.
We're not unique. It's like, and now it's like, okay, if nothing else, if they come out of that conversation saying, all right, so you know what, let's not panic. Yeah. And yes, we do have challenges ahead of us, but we're not the only one running into this. And others have succeeded and overcome it. Let's go seek those out, figure out how they overcame those things. So I think that's where an evangelist doing that right, the correct job is pointing out some of the challenges, but also pointing out here's how some folks have.
here's some of the successes.
And I actually think that's really important. Is you can feel, organisations can feel very isolated and think they are the only ones who've ever been through these issues. But when you're able to bring those threads together and say, hey, look, no, it's not just you. It's this place here. That place
They're all
there.
messed up.
Everyone. There are so many people who've been through the same issues, and this is how we fix it over here, and this is how we fix it over there. So let's see what's going to work for you.
And it's interesting from Anthony's perspective as well. I don't mean to speak for you, but that can be something from the CIO level that is hard to get your head around, because CIO, they don't have those people to talk and vent to.
Exactly.
So they can't look down and say, guys, we're in trouble. I'm struggling. They're the leader. And so to have a collection of CIOs or have sort of Anthony's expertise or the expertise at Cherwell, we've talked to CIOs to say, you're not alone. There's help. There's a warm hug for you on this side. But then guide them to the right directions. It's either industry specific or vertical specific. That's important.
Yeah, pulling those threads together and linking them up. That's really important.
Yeah, really help them get rid of that constraint that's stopping them. Sometimes organizations, and you probably heard this in the past, they say, ITIL's not for us. We tried this, or we tried this other
ITIL
best practice,
failed.
and so forth. And then when you look at what they're doing, they're actually doing it, and everybody does it sort of this way, in their own way. That's why we call it a best practice for the company itself. And then they just get, perturbed about the challenges and everything else. And a role like that I have with Cherwell is to really go in, like you say, evangelize, say, what's going on, what's the challenges and everything else. Oh, this is what you need to focus on. This is how you're going to get rid of this particular constraint in your environment so that you can move forward. And this is what you should be measuring so you can see your success. Because sometimes those organizations, they'll do stuff and they say, well, this is not for us, and they don't realize they made some success, but they haven't measured to those,
or they said, I find that they set expectations that there's just no way, or they have the wrong expectations. And it's like, but someone comes in, objectively from outside and say, wait, no, I'm not saying that you've accomplished everything, but from where you were to where you are. Now, maybe you didn't quite get there in a straight line and you kind of did a few little circles and kind of went around the block a little bit, fine. But that progress was there and whatnot. So, but it's easy to blame the tool. It's easy to blame the process. It's easy to blame something rather than look in the mirror and say, maybe we were our own.
That's what we say, like the common denominator of every failed relationship is you, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to kind of take that, observation and make it. And I think the other side too is just, it's not always a technology fix, right? So I think when you look at Anthony's role, it's not to go in and say, well, you need to buy this product to solve this area, and you need to buy this product from Cherwell to solve this area. It's 80, 85, 90% around the people and the process. The technology is just the enablement of those two. So it's a really good role to play as far as directing and orchestrating and designing.
It's actually pulling those things together and marrying the technology with the processes and the people and everything else that has to happen. And sometimes it's refocusing too. I'm sure you've come across it too, Carlos, when you go into an organisation and things like ITIL are actually four-letter words. People just do not want to hear you mention it.
We've had this conversation with like, don't say ITIL.
Don't say ITIL.
All right.
Exactly.
It doesn't bother me, but clients will explicitly say, don't say it. I'm like,
and you know what I say then? I say, okay, I won't talk about. I talk about service management.
And that's exactly.
They go, okay, that's what we want to hear.
But it's funny because when I start with clients, especially from the config side, we want you. I just ask them a simple question, and that pretty much lays out whether or not it's going to be a successful project, or for a successful engagement. It's like, why are you doing config management? And so we're doing a CMDB, and I'm like, all right, it's going to fail. As soon as they go away from telling me about config management, and they say it's CMDB. And that's the same thing. It's like, what are you trying to do? Don't give me all the scripted, what came out of the book, but what are you really trying to accomplish? We need to improve our efficiencies here. We need to do whatever there.
What are those business outcomes?
And then it's like, okay, we can apply these best practices, which happen to be ITIL, which happen to be change or organizational, whatever. And it's like, okay, you don't want to call it that? That's fine.
I had one CIO said to me, no, don't talk to us about ITIL. We bought ITIL 2 years ago and it didn't work.
They bought it? Really?
Yeah, they bought ITIL and it didn't work, So,
Are they still running?
Yeah, they have to.
No, it's a saying I saw on the internet. I don't know who actually said this, but they say if you change the way you look at things, things change. And that's sort of the role at the end of the day, to help people change the way they look at things so they can focus different and get better business outcomes at the end of the day, and inspire people at the end of the day. That's what I really try to do.
Yeah.
It'd be real motivational as I talk to
Great.
customers and people in the field and so forth.
That's been I mean, we could actually carry on this conversation for a lot longer, but we're limited on time, but we are going to have to get you on again at another time and have another chat. So thanks so much, Anthony.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
This is great.